Okay, we're live. Looks like it's
Oh, wow.
recording.
All right, we're
Yeah,
here.
look at those. Look at those
I,
sound waves. We're
yeah,
really doing
yeah. No, I
this.
can hear them. I can see them loud and clear.
Yep. All
I
right.
guess a couple things to just ask about is so how do you plan on doing this? Are we doing this Joe Rogan style? Do you want this more clean cut?
No, it's probably more Joe Rogan style.
Okay.
Honestly, I, I should have planned a bit more. Sent you some
Yeah.
questions. It's usually how I do it, but I figured, let's just get something down, and
Yeah,
we're
sure.
pretty comfortable with each other, so I figured it'd be easier to do something non-scripted.
Sounds
So
good.
yeah, but it's casual. Just talk about your projects, plug whatever you want. Maybe it'll take like 45 minutes to an hour, see where it goes, and yeah, just pretend we're just shooting the shit on a phone.
Shooting the Scheiße back and
All
forth.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Off the Mark. I'm Marc Tyrrell, and I am joined by my good friend Stan Alger here. Thank you for joining me today. Stan Alger is a filmmaking buddy of mine. We've known each other for a couple years now. Usually, if I was prepared, I'd have a set bio for him, but I am just flying this by the end of my seat. So we're both here today. Stan, who are you? What are you? How are you doing today?
What am I? Who am I? It's a bit of an
what is am?
existential crisis all of a sudden. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So my name is Stan. I'm a film director and filmmaker. Also, someone that is pursuing down the creative path and the journey. Just another artist trying to make his way in the universe. So.
Oh, there's none of those in LA.
I
You're
was trying
so
to. I was
unique.
trying to do. Yeah, another fish in the world's most gigantic pond of all places. But then also trying to insert my own little Star Wars reference in there for those that caught it. Attack of the Clones fans, if you're out there.
Oh, that's the best one.
Mm. It's yeah. No, I like Django Fett. Django
Oh
Fett is
yeah. Yeah,
yeah
Django's great. Dude, that's the weird thing about the prequels. Like, I don't know. I always liked them, but when I rewatched them in college, I was like, who directed this? Tommy Wiseau? Like, Natalie
yeah
Portman, I did not realize she could give that bad of a performance. I'm talking specifically about Phantom Menace, but
yeah.
I mean, I still enjoy them. I mean, Dave Filoni ended up fixing everything in the Clone Wars. So, yeah.
It's interesting. I have to give the biggest confession when it comes to the Clone Wars, and I know that Dave Filoni has had so much hype, and he really has a deep love for the Star Wars universe. But I have actually only watched the 2003 Clone Wars.
Oh, the what's the name of that one? Anti Staranovsky or something Russian like that?
Yeah, yeah, I think
Yeah.
Staranovsky, and I don't know. So growing up, I watched that one a lot, and I don't know. I mean, I had this weird thing where I just never got around to seeing the 2008 one. It wasn't that I hated it. I actually love the actor Matt Lanter, who voices Anakin
Okay.
in the 2008 Clone Wars. I've seen him in a lot of his actual live action work, but never got around to seeing that. But the 2003, I really, really enjoy. And also just because you actually get to see Anakin go from Padawan to Jedi Knight in that version, and it actually
Mhm.
leads more cleanly into Revenge of the Sith. So that's why I've always had a little bit of bias. But
No, I mean that one's. I mean, I haven't watched the whole thing, but I mean the clips of it are just the what I have seen is incredible. Like the animation is crazy. Like
yeah,
that one shot of the clone commander like fighting on the front lines. He grabs one of the super droids and like shoots him in the head and then
oh
fights
yeah,
it. Fires. Yeah. No,
oh yeah,
I've seen that. That's become a meme at this point. A lot of Helldivers fans use that as like carrying my team when someone has bad internet connection or something like
yeah.
that.
I mean,
Caption.
it's also. I mean, the Jedi in the 2003 Clone Wars as well were way too OP. They were way too overpowered. And I mean, seriously, if you look at what Mace Windu is doing in that, he's doing some star killer like moves.
Yeah.
Like he's holding back like 50 to 100 fighter planes at one point, simply using the Force. Like they really made the Jedi powerful in that one, which I think was cool as heck. But
Yeah.
some people said, you gotta scale it back a bit. So
Yeah, no, that one I remember. So I didn't watch it when it first came out. I was poor, so I didn't have cable, so I only played the Flash games at the library based on it.
mm,
But back in college, me and my friend were talking about this old Clone Wars thing. It was like, yeah, no, man, it was such a great TV show. I wish I watched all of it. It was like, it wasn't a. He goes, it wasn't a TV show. It was a movie. No, it was a TV show. No, it was a movie. We look it up, and apparently it was released as a TV show, but when it went on DVD, it was an actual. It was set up as like 2 hour and a half long movies.
mm.
It was. They were only like 10 minutes each, right?
Yeah, they weren't terribly long.
Yeah. Well, anyways, enough Star Wars talk. We're here to talk about you. So you and I, how did we meet? We met through some like online networking group. There's a million of them in LA, and we ended up hitting it off, right?
Hmm.
Uh, we met up. You paid for my dinner. I was like, okay, this guy's gonna be friends for life now. And yeah, we've worked on a couple projects since then. You were going to LMU, right? You just graduated like
I
last
did,
year, right?
yeah, yeah. I just graduated back in May, so
Okay.
yeah, I went into the summer with that recent college grad kick, trying to figure out what comes next, film major and all that, trying to now find a job, and
McDonald's, Burger
yeah,
King.
you have to you have
As
to
a
pay your
fellow film
dues.
major.
Oh yeah. No, but seriously, I mean, it was fun. I actually did get a lot out of film school, and
Mhm.
LMU I thought gave a really great curriculum and great mentors and great friends that I have been able to collaborate with a number of projects on. So ultimately, it was a really great time. It was a really great experience.
Yeah, I remember I worked on wasn't your capstone, but it was one of your what I remember Ghost, was it Ghost Like Us that I did the BTS on?
Yeah, that was so the first foray into trying to do things with the skill set that I had developed at LMU was an indie project that I did actually before my thesis films. That was actually a precursor. I kind of wanted to get my feet wet. So I did a production called Spirits Like Us. And then you were involved in that. Actually, you were
Yes.
involved in a couple of projects because you also helped out a couple of the ones that I produced while I was at LMU. You would also occasionally lend a hand at.
Yeah, I do remember the samurai film.
Hmm.
I helped with
You were fire
I
watching.
was yeah, I was Firewatch, which is a fancy term, is that I sat in a truck for 4 hours reading a book, trying to make sure no
Yeah.
one stole it. But yeah, no, I did that. What was the other? Oh, I was in what was the one in the bar? The 1920s gangster flick? Was that
Yes.
yours?
That
That
was
was
no. That was
you were
again.
producing.
A friend of mine's. That
Yeah.
was puppets and playthings. You were
Okay.
you did well. I mean, you really went into the full get up. You dressed up as the mobster. We had a couple of we were tying back into our Bostonian roots.
Yeah.
We
So
were
for
going.
context, yeah. So for
Yeah.
context, Stan hits me up one day. Is like, I have a part for you. It's perfect for you. It's like, okay, well, what is it? It's like, you play a gangster. I'm like, great. I love gangster films. I just need you to shave your beard. And I'm like, go fuck yourself. Um, but I was like, okay, you know what? Since I love you, I'll trim it.
Mm.
So the day of, I get my razor out, and apparently I guesstimate the wrong length on the razor, and I ended up cutting most of my beard off too. So I had like this barely stubble look going. So he
Oh
got his
my.
wish. Yeah, so Stan ended up getting his wish. I showed up with a naked face and my cheeks were freezing.
I missed
So
that part,
yes.
but I missed that part, but no. You mean the cool thing was, again, everyone on that set really just got into character. I mean, we had some
Yeah.
people that were actually smoking real cigarettes on that, and they were. By the end of the day, it kind of felt like we had stepped back into a 40s bar at one point, and then I made sure you got into enough shots though that you made it into the final cut. You
I
are
gotta still
you,
watch the
you
final cut.
you are in the final cut of the film, and there's a pretty good profile of you too, which is
Awesome.
yeah, yeah,
My ponytail at the time didn't show up. That was the other thing we had to fix. I had to tuck it into my shirt. I
yeah.
remember.
Now, well, no, I'll make sure. Hey, you'll get the IMDb credit. You'll definitely have that.
Okay.
So,
Wonderful. That's better than rent money in this town.
mm, yeah,
And when my landlord comes knocking at the end of the month, they'll just say, "Hey," and I'll
mm.
pull up IMDb and be like,
It's so
"Okay,
much.
you can still live here."
It's really funny how many of these, when you come to LA and you are an artist and you go out to film school, you're a theater actor, or you do any of the above to say that you're an artist. We really do fall into the lingo. And then it's, for instance, oh, I did X amount of years in LA. It's like we're talking about prison. Like, I did my time in LA, and oh yeah, no, it's the copy meal credit. Oh yeah, I've been there, done that. And then we kind of have this mutual brotherhood or sisterhood respect for one another. It really, on one hand, people can look back on it, people hate it. Some other people, they think it's toxic. I look back on it, I'd kind of laugh at it. I think it's kind of fun if you play along and you can laugh at ourselves. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. Wait, look back on. I mean, you're still in it. I mean, you're still living here, unless you're about to
Yeah,
drop that you're about to move back
yeah.
to Boston on this freaking show. Is that what you're about? Are you
Oh
there? What are you
no,
talking? Is
no,
that what
no.
you're talking in past tense right now?
No, 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 no. I've locked in launch codes. I am committed to this life. I'm on a mission from God. So
Oh,
I
same
gotta
here.
I gotta
Yeah.
commit.
I feel like there's two different, like what you're talking about, like there being the people who talk about it as like
Mm,
doing prison time. There's
yeah.
those people, but those like you talk to people like we're by the way, we're both from Boston, context,
Mm.
outside of Boston, and
Two
you know,
classic mass holes right here.
it's two classic mass holes. It was crazy when we met up. We were like you told me what town you lived in, and I was like, I went to school with a guy who's from there, and like I grew up
Mm.
20 minutes away. It's crazy, you
We
know.
were literally like 20 minutes from each other, our most of our lives.
Yeah, and then we run into each other 3,000 miles away in California. It's a
Yeah.
weird way how God works.
Mm.
But yeah, no, there's the people who talk about it, like people who back home when you're doing productions, how they talk about they did their time in LA. But then there's this second class of people who don't just see it as like the promised land that don't
Mm.
leave, they don't want to leave.
Yeah.
um, Maybe they'll talk about like if they leave the film industry, they'll talk about, oh, I did my time and it wasn't for me. um, but yeah, no, there's like the extended tourists, and then there's the people who like immigrate here, I feel like. Oh,
Yeah.
give me a sec. Speaking about that that show, and also being from a mission from God, as you know, my house is a mess, and I had
Ah,
the hat from set on my kitchen
yes.
table. Yes, along with my
Well,
PS4 and a sword.
Dutch was in the house, Dutch.
Dutch. Yeah.
Well,
This is both the 1920s gangster hat and what we wear when we go line dancing.
nice.
Also, Montana's, give me money for shouting you out. Go to Montana's in San Dimas. It's a lot of fun.
You need the sponsorship.
I need the sponsorship.
It's
I
never it's
seriously
never
need
too
it.
early to start recruiting or looking, but you know, again, it is interesting just kind of looking back on it because I try to, you talked about before, talking about past tense and looking at others. And the reason I do that is because one thing that does fascinate me, and I think that we've talked a bit about this, is the question, especially in this day and age with the just rapid advancement of so many changes that are coming down the industry's pipeline. Where is the central hub of entertainment going to be in about 10 or 20 years? Because it is decentralizing. I mean, it's
Yeah.
still probably going to be based primarily again in LA, semi New York for another 50 or so years, but it's definitely finally, for the first time in history, actually starting to branch out across the country. So people may
Yeah.
not eventually need to do their time in LA. You could be saying, hey, I did some of my time in Austin. I did some of my time in, I don't know, if you want to say Atlanta, Georgia, or somewhere in Florida, for example.
Where in Florida is it starting to pop off?
Honestly, I've had some good contacts of mine that have started to do work in Orlando, and they've started to do some work in Miami.
Hmm.
So who knows? Who knows? And then, of course, Nevada, I'm forgetting Vegas. Vegas is the big one. They've had some serious investment out there. And there's, of course, a ton of land in the Midwest that some studios have recently bought. And that's just because, well, it's cheap land. And if you can be able to set up a couple nice studio lots out there that you can do some cheaper work for, you're going to take advantage of it. And then, of course, with this landscape, you have the whole fiasco going on with Paramount trying to look at possibly buying out Warner Brothers or whatnot. I mean, God knows what the future is going to look like.
Yeah, I wish they did that when I still owned their stock. But yeah,
I
no,
know.
yeah,
You got to
no,
get
I
back in that
sold it.
Charles Schwab account.
I'm a Fidelity guy because I'm a Chad. What are you talking about, Charles Schwab? We got Diamond Hands over here. Diamond Hands use Fidelity, brother. No, but you're right. Like we've talked about this at length, like since we've known each other, the decentralization of the entertainment industry. I mean, I remember listening to one interview that this woman, this she called it Tyler Perry of YouTube. She makes all these like three like short 20-minute short films every week, and her
Mm,
production is based somewhere in Alabama.
yeah.
It really, you're right, it is stratifying, but I think the clincher on whether or not LA will keep its dominance is if it can hold on to the distribution market. Because yeah, you can actually shoot things anywhere, especially places with cheaper land, like Atlanta's where they shoot all the Marvel movies now because of those tax credits. Netflix is making some in Vegas, as you were saying, along with other studios. Although I heard that they're running into some issues because, like, the Nevada Senate didn't approve more tax credits, but it's probably still cheaper to shoot there than in LA. The
Yeah.
thing that comes to it is that unless your distribution network is just YouTube, you need some, you know, just theatrical distributor and somebody who has connections with like the Amazon Primes, the Netflix, the Janus films, and those are all in
Mm,
uh, LA. So
definitely.
if they
Definitely.
keep that monopoly, then
Who
then LA
knows?
will keep predominance. But
Yeah.
I'm living here regardless. At least that's the plan. Yeah,
I think the biggest scare for indie filmmakers is Film LA,
film
which
LA.
film Film LA, it's, well, they're the police force in town when it comes to filmmaking in Los Angeles. They've been so for a number of years, but Film LA and film school is something that you learn a lot of very early on. If your film school is good and educates you on this, but Film LA, essentially, you need to file all the permitting with and all the fees with if you want to film
Okay.
anywhere in the city. And this includes your own home. Like, if you
Oh
technically,
yeah.
you need a permit to film in your own home on your own private property if you want to be completely by the book about it. Fun fact.
Yeah, no, I remember I was working on a friend of mine's thesis, and like he was telling me how the permitting is ridiculous. He lucked out because the fee is way less if you're a student film.
Hmm.
But yeah, I guess you were saying like if your film school's good, they'll teach you all about film in LA. I guess the school I went to sucks because I never learned about it. But then again, I went to school in Boston, so we're probably more. We didn't necessarily have to learn about LA, but it's just the film department for the local city
Mm,
ordinance. Is
yeah,
that all it is?
pretty much. Pretty much. It's
Okay.
a little bit more. There's a love hate relationship in the sense where, on one hand, you respect the fact that you have such a structured system. On another, it does kind of attack the indie field a little bit because, again, it's kind of a fact of you got to pay your dues. You got to pay up a little bit. The fee to even get a basic permit can go up to $1,000, $1,000 just to get a permit for basically for your own home.
And they
And
wonder why everyone's leaving the state.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, getting off of that, I want to get into more about you. So,
Hmm.
what films how many films you've got under your belt at this point? I know we had Spirits Like Us that I worked on. You've
I
produced a
do. I
number of
have.
films.
So after that, after Spirits, I made a couple other just shorter films. So during my time in college, I made a series of smaller shorts that you could do, especially again, that was during my sophomore year. So I did quite a few. I think the beauty of LMU was we were constantly making short films. So not all of them are going to become the short film that you submit to cons or TIFF or anything like that. But you're constantly creating, so you're constantly keeping that creative spark alive. You're
Yeah.
honing in and sharpening your skill set. Or in my case, as a director, my director's toolbox, working with actors, learning better verbiage, learning better ways to communicate my vision. So after Spirits, I then did my junior thesis, which was called The Parable. I really started to explore more of the themes that I wanted to go in, which was more action, more adventure, more supernatural, really trying to play with those themes. And again, building on my brand. And then a year later, I did my senior thesis, which was called Hero's Journey, which I've actually just submitted to the film festival circuit. It's making its rounds. But again, I really dived into the thriller genre. I really wanted to go down into the action, thriller, adventure genre
Hmm.
and really kind of make my staple there.
Okay, so
So
you have three short films where you've
I
directed at this
actually, if
point,
you tie in of all the ones I've done five.
and that's including just producing but not directing.
That's directing.
Okay, so
Producing
you've done.
producing films officially during my time at LMU, that brings me up to nine.
Okay, cool. So you've got five directorials and nine
I
producing
have four.
credits.
Four. Yeah, I
Four.
have four
Four.
four films I've done as a producer.
Okay.
Actually, it's going to be one more. It's going to be a total of 10. I'll have done five producer jobs. Actually, we're finishing up. We actually, a couple weekends ago, we just shot another indie film that I produced called, well, can't say too much about it, but it was called
Shh.
yeah, it was called His
Don't break
American
NDA.
Song. Yeah, no,
His American what?
His American Song. His
Song.
Amer His American Song. It's a period piece, but
What
it was
period?
again without revealing too much. It's a supernatural thriller,
Okay.
and very much tying again into the themes that I want to explore. Very much not only combining those genres that really stem from. I mean, I I credit. I like to call myself a Spielberg boy.
Yeah,
I love
I was about
growing
to
up
ask
as a
about
Spielberg
that.
boy.
Yeah.
He's definitely my idol as a director, and his
Hmm.
style of film. It's exactly the kind of films that I want to make, I want to make, continue to make, and also I look for when I'm working with my friends that we want to make. And this film was another heavily inspired trajectory of a Spielberg themed film. And so that was another reason why I said, hey, you know what, this would be fun to continue to explore and build on. So
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to say, from all the work I've been exposed of yours, and the stuff I've worked on, it seems like you're. very much into the like adventure genre. You want something that is like in accordance to that like Spielberg's type of blockbuster style, which I love because like I'm very I hate like avant garde like indie movies. Like I almost got into a fight with a friend of mine over whether The Lobster was any good.
Mm,
The answer is that it
nice.
sucks. Have you seen The Lobster?
I have not.
Okay, yeah, no, I ended up I almost got thrown out of an In and Out
Oh,
when I
no.
got into
Mark,
this
what did you
argument.
do? What did you do?
I I remember screaming something about how the lobster sucks, and the security guard started walking toward me, and the whole place went quiet for a second. But anyway, that's not the point. The
Yeah.
um, point is, yeah. So you're who Spielberg. Who else is your the directorial inspirations?
Kurosawa, if you want to go back in time, I usually start from the beginning. I have
Hmm.
Kurosawa. I have, and if you want to go also of that era, not as much into action per se, but definitely in terms of theme and character. In terms of characters I like to build out, Frank Capra. Frank Capra is another one. I love DeMille, Cecil B. DeMille. I enjoy, if you want to go back more into the modern era, James Cameron, and then of course Christopher Nolan. He's another one of mine. Tarantino,
Hmm.
definitely combining those directors. There are key elements from all those directors that I just really, really love. And what again, it's just I think that when people talk about commercial films today, I think that they say, oh, the blockbuster films that come out today. So you want to do more four quadrants. You want to do more for more commercial style films that are inspired like that. And on a level, yeah, I do. I get those are what I loved as a kid, and that's what I want to continue to make. That's where my passion is. But
Hmm.
on another level, I think there's some magic about, I would say specifically about Spielberg films, for example, that these films have where you can see the heart behind it. I think that in some films that come out today, you can sense the factory system, but with if you watch some of those 1980s Spielberg franchises, Close Encounters, Jaws, Raiders, if you really focus on those films, as famous and as classic as they are, you can sense the heart behind them. And that's exactly what I want to do. So if I do make more commercial style films that again fall into that adventure, action, supernatural thriller like genre, it's because I kind of want to explore how you can do them and do them well, if that makes sense.
Yeah. What would your dream project be? Like if you had like a blank check, like do you have a
Ooh.
script in mind or
Ooh.
like a story or a remake that you'd love to do?
I don't know about a remake per se. At least I can't think of any off the top of my head. A remakes I tend to avoid because I do tend to respect the idea that if a franchise is
Right.
done,
Well,
leave it alone.
what would your dream project be? Like
Yeah,
blank check, anyone you could cast anyone, what would it be?
it would have to be something building off of that world and that kind of brand that I like to create. I would always want to do something historical,
Okay.
something that brought in history while also kind of having that adventure thrill and vibe to it. Something a la Assassin's Creed or The Mummy. Something like that would be so much fun to do.
Give
So
us
again,
the
that's kind of like
Assassin's
where the
Creed
Indiana
movie we
Jones like
deserve.
inspiration comes from. Like I'd want to create a project that where I could tie in that because I'm also a history buff.
Hmm.
But I have a couple different ideas that I've been tinkering around with that I'd want to try and explore and turn into features at some point. I'm constantly writing. I'm constantly
Hmm.
writing. So there's a number of them that are sitting on the shelf, so to speak, that hopefully one day will see the light of day.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big part of the creative process is just be prolific. Like
Yeah.
very few people just make couple things that are classics. Like you always need to keep making new and new stuff so that way you always improve too.
Exactly.
hopefully make that classic thing, and
Yeah,
also
well, I
got
mean,
a
you're right.
ride.
I mean, there are, again, like I said, I have a number of. You asked if there's one that I specifically would want to make. I have several. I have, for instance, I have a ghost story, very much where Spirits Like Us was a precursor to, that I've wrote and continued to develop. I do have a more Sarah Connor inspired idea that I've been working on. I have I do have a historical Assassin's Creed like inspired story that I decided to give
Oh,
a little bit
please
of a
make
new
that.
angle to.
Please
I
make
had
that.
something that I've just jotted down that I've been working on that takes inspiration from another one of my idols, Frank Capra. And I've also had that in the back of my mind. So I have a lot. I guess, everyone at the end of the day, everyone in this town has a script, right? Like everyone in this town has an idea.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those where, well, how do you make it so that you actually want that idea to come alive?
Yeah.
How do you do that? It's got to have, it can't come out of nowhere. Studios and people make something that you can sell. You have intellectual property, you have IP. If it's got no IP, if you can't sell it, if you can't gain traction, it won't come into being. So the real strategy is, if you really want to get it done, you need to not only have the passion for the story itself, you got to have the passion to make it a reality. So a lot of the time, I'm thinking, okay, do I have the passion to practically do this? How can I brainstorm different ways to turn this into a way in which I can say, hey, this is marketable, there's an audience here, and this is something that I can sell. So that's
Right.
why I look to, honestly, another studio that's been on the rise and on the up and coming that we've talked a bit about, and that's Angel Studios, for example, with their built in audience, where they not only
Yeah.
take a short proof of concept film, but then they market a series of those out, and they say, hey, here's an idea, and then they have their members or their guild members vote on it, and then you get this built-in audience that then is like, hey, this is a really kind of cool idea, like I could actually see this. It builds a little bit of that IP, so now it has something to stand on, and that's how you can better sell. And that's kind of how I think, as artists and creatives, we need to kind of treat the rest of our projects, is we need to find a way to not only write and tell a good story, but come up with a plan so that way we can try and pitch it and sell it to the world.
Yeah. No, that's one hurdle I people keep running into. I mean, I've run into this. It's all about the business part aspect of,
Mm,
creative art because, people don't want to have to make things because of money, but money's the thing that gets things made at the end of the
yeah.
day. So, I mean, like, for instance, like this, me deciding to, go full time into this comedy and photography stuff and start this podcast, like, I needed to sit down and think, okay, how exactly do I monetize this? Much runway do I have? What are my revenue streams? And that is even harder for making features and films
Mm,
because it's unless you're a studio exec, there is no clear way of monetization. I mean,
yeah.
like the best thing that's come up in like the indie space is probably what you were talking about with Angel, where they basically crowdfund every project from their inbuilt
Hmm.
fan base, and they start out by putting like all their content for free on YouTube, and then based off that, then they make better stuff with more money once they fundraise, then put that behind a paywall like Amazon Prime or their own website. Dude, it's so weird nowadays how, like, I mean, the entertainment industry's always been changing, but it feels like it's even more crazy nowadays. I mean, we're at the point where like
Mm.
we have AI actors. Like, have you been following that whole ship
Tilly
fiasco?
Norwood. She's, I got to confess, she's, kind of my girlfriend.
Oh, nice. So here's the breaking story. You've heard it here on Off the Mark. Ladies and gentlemen, Stan Alger is officially a grade A digital gooner. He's into the
Mm.
clankers, everyone. So if you have
Hey, you know
any
what?
great Sora edits, send
They're
them his
trying good job.
way.
Honestly, they're so misunderstood. Tilly, she cries herself to sleep every night. I love her.
Dude, I saw that in a headline. Like, is that she really said that?
No, there. I mean, maybe, maybe.
I haven't made a lot of research, but like I don't understand how it's gonna work. Like,
I
does she have
don't.
an agent?
She does. There is an agency that reps her. I don't know the name of it, but I know all my friends. Look, all my friends in the Screen Actors Guild are they, they detest it. I don't know. At least I don't personally know anybody that backs this, and nobody's believing anything about how they're saying, "Oh, she'll just be used for select work or AI only channeled content." And here's the thing, even if that is true, even if that was true, look, it's the minute you open up the door, eventually the floodgates are going to come in, the water's going to come pouring in. The minute you step over that line, you can't control it. Like you
Yeah.
think that you can control it, but it's going to be Jurassic Park. Life is going to find a way, and it's going to open up the precedent for eventually AI will eventually start saying, "Hey, we can replace an actor that is less than desirable to work with, or maybe they're dead, and then we can bring them back." And then before you know it, you will have AI entirely generated movies that are, going to be listed for free at AMC theaters, introduced by an aging Nicole Kidman.
I mean, dude, it's already happening. I mean, I remember hearing that The Flash, that terrible movie that came out a couple of years ago, they brought back like one of the early 1940s actors of the character, and he'd already been dead for a while, and they just recreated him using, CGI. AI is going to make that whole process way easier now. And I mean, you're talking about AI generated films. Like, I just came up in my head that, we're already seeing that with advertisements. Like, you go on
Yeah,
YouTube, like, at least half to three quarters of the ads I'm getting now are obviously AI generated. And they're not from like scam companies, just like small, like, uh, you know, come here to check out my up 10 stock picks from somebody you've never heard of. It's
yeah.
like big brands are using it, like Kalshi. I think I've seen Dollar Shave Club. It's already been that way with advertisers. It's only logically going to keep happening with other forms of content. But I want to definitely ask you before you go, like what was your, why did you choose this life? Like what inspired you to go down to film school and like move out here to LA? Like, yeah, what formed you?
It's interesting, and I think that we kind of had a phone call, I
Yeah,
think
we
earlier
did.
this year, where we kind of talked about purpose and what we love to do in life and everything. And my whole life, I've been drawn to entertainment. So it's seriously, like, I mean, I have. When I was a kid, I used to just love escaping into my favorite Spielberg movies. I used to love going to drama class. I wasn't exactly like, I don't know if they would claim me the theater kids, but I didn't do it enough to that extent, but I did love being in part of the theater when I could. I certainly loved acting. I certainly loved being part of the actual community theater world. And then when I was in high school, I was constantly making short films. In fact, I'm a Christian myself. I'm a believer in God, and it was quite.
Oh, really? From that cross on your
Oh
neck,
yeah, as you can
I thought
see,
you
the one
were
down here.
Zoroastrian.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, no. But it was quite literally a God wink that I got involved in film. There was a very special story there, and from there on, I just made films through high school. I continued to do plays in high school, even a musical or two. And then I just carried that on to college, and I just kept having those little God winks, is what I guess you could say. And it's just something that I've never lost the passion for. I love creating, I love directing, I love acting myself, I love just continuing to learn and add on to that. And that's just always been there. And I guess the last thing about that is I'm also very much fascinated by the way that media, entertainment especially, the effect that it has on culture, as you know. I love the way in which it shapes us, the way it impacts us, and the magic behind that. And there really is a lot to study there, and that does fascinate me. For ever since really films were first being made, movies were first being made over 100 years ago. People have been studying this, looking at this, and at times for better and for worse, even to this day, those out there that want to try and use it for less than righteous purposes to try and, I'd say, propagandize and manipulate audiences and worlds into believing certain things or becoming certain people or whatnot. As much as it can also be used for bad, it can also be used for good. And that's what I love about it. And that's the way that I think that it can really tap into the magic of helping to shape people and what we believe and who we become. And that's also what's fascinated me. So everything about being an entertainer, everything about being a creative, I love all of it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my take anyway. That's my story.
No, that's a good answer. Yeah, I remember that call. I was like, I was crashing out. I think you were simultaneously also having your own crash out at the time. I think, yeah, I remember I called you when I was like off on the side of the road in Atwater Village, and like I was dealing with like my upcoming layoff and figuring out what comes next. And yeah, man, I mean, it just comes down to just love this grind, and you only
Yeah,
got one life to live, so might as well. Makes dealing with all the bullshit that comes with this industry worth it, right?
definitely. Definitely, man.
Yeah.
How about you? How about you?
What made me go into this?
Yeah.
Um,
We got to
you
have
know,
someone. It's your show too, man. We got to hear
no,
some of
you,
Mark.
yeah, no, stealing my interview
Well, I
job. No,
mean, here's the thing. Whenever I watch these, a little bit of a meta moment. I also love fun fact. I love meta. I love the concept of meta. But
mhm.
sometimes when you do these podcasts, you fall into what if one day we could interview the host? Or how
Uh-huh.
does the host give their story? And I mean, eventually, what you could do is you could do the half and half splice where you could script it and then you could be the one that could interview yourself. But, probably a little bit better to try and to avoid that because I don't know how that would go. Maybe
I
cringe.
mean, we were talking about AI. I'm sure that's something you can easily do nowadays with AI. But no,
You want to be
I'm glad
you
you
want
asked
an
this
AI Sydney
question.
Sweeney? You want an AI Sydney Sweeney to interview?
We're not talking about that right now. Trust me, I wouldn't be just interviewing her. Fuck. Okay, maybe we'll cut that part out. But anyway,
Hey, I didn't go there. I did not go there. So
we'd have a
I
really
do
deep
not claim that.
conversation. No, but I'm actually getting back on track. I actually glad you asked me that question because, I it is I'm planning to release a pilot that I have yet to record as the first episode, where I give my background and why I'm doing this podcast and who the hell am I and why should people care, and why I went into this industry in the first place. The easiest answer is that as a kid I used to watch a lot of YouTube, not
Mm,
just YouTube, but this was back when like there were still other websites that would host their own videos on their platform, and YouTube wasn't the only place you could go get it. Um, like that was like that. If you think like that guy with the glasses, like IGN, College Humor, back, the golden age of those days. The My favorite one was this company called Rooster Teeth. They made this web series called Wrestler versus Blue, and
mm,
they used the popularity from that to make all these different types of media, from podcasts to feature length movies to comic strips. And when I saw that as a kid, how they were able to make whatever they wanted and go direct to their consumer, basically do the Netflix effect before Netflix did it, I knew that's what I wanted to do
mm.
eventually with my life. just have a platform to make whatever creative projects I felt like. Um, so, and that's, big reason why I moved to California. That's a big reason why I went to film school. That along
That's
with,
awesome.
HBO dramas and Scorsese movies, and wanting to do something along those lines.
Hmm.
Just be able to, take advantage the opportunities this, the internet affords us. But so that's the easy answer. The deeper thing of why, I'm in, like, I guess the entertainment history as a whole, because I haven't done much film stuff in a minute.
Hey,
But
I
like,
actually, fun fact, I went through my old drive. I watched your short film. I still, you sent me your short film. Do you remember that?
which one? Oh, is that the pipe dream?
Yes.
Oh, dude, that script was fucking awesome. I sucked as a director. Um,
It's the
no,
first
but
step.
yeah, it's a first one. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, going
Pancake. That's what we say. We would call them pancakes.
pancakes. Why is
Yeah,
it
because
pancake?
you pancake the short films on top of one another. You know.
Oh, and then eventually you get a nice juicy stack, right?
It's like that first pancake you make is always like a little crispy, little burnt around the edges. But then the next one, it's better. And then
Okay,
eventually you have this really nice golden pancake on top. Eventually.
that's the theme of this episode. That's the big takeaway from this episode. Filmmaking is like pancakes.
Oh, did I give us
Um,
our thumbnail already?
that might, maybe it's definitely going to be the title.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, deeper reason, like, I don't know, man. I don't think that's something I always have an answer for. It's always changing, but I, it just, you feel life is guaranteed to suck at a lot of points.
Hmm.
And it is my philosophy that the only way to make that sucking worth it instead of avoiding it is to put it all towards something that is worthwhile. And
Hmm.
something about art and creativity and filmmaking just calls to me. And I feel like that type of suffering, if it's in pursuit of that, is worth it. That's why I asked you to hop on this call today to, do this podcast. That's why I'm doing this podcast. So that way, like you were saying, I'm making something regularly. It might not be a short film or a feature, but it's something related to the medium of moving pictures that we went to school for. And I don't know what the future holds, and uh but I'm gonna put my best foot forward. I know it's gonna suck, but I realize if life is gonna suck, then I want it to suck on my terms and
Hey, it's
be
not gonna
fun.
suck. You're gonna do awesome, man. Got to keep
Thank
the
you.
positive thinking. Let life bring about the negatives, come what
Mm.
they may.
Well, thank you. And with that positive note, I think this is a good place to stop. Stan, is there anything you want to plug before we end the recording? Where can people find you? Where can they watch your films? And,
Sure.
like, how can they
Yeah.
reach your Tinder profile or
Yeah.
Grinder profile? I just
A
assumed you're
good
not on
place to.
Grinder, given the cross.
Yeah, I tend to avoid dating apps. I don't tend to, not my style, not me. But I don't, as a personal, I tend to not plug too much. Just I mean, I don't know. Number one, I don't have too much to plug in the pipeline at the moment. At least not too much to reveal or talk about. But I will say, if you do want to chat or you want to DM or you want to talk some, I'm always open to meeting other artists and creatives. So you can find me at Stan the Director on Instagram, and that is probably where you will most commonly find me. I have the other social handles. If you look up the same thing, Stan the Director, just hit me up and we can chat. And go from there.
And if you can't catch him on Instagram, just DM my account and I will send you his home address. I'll get you guys connected.
Yeah. No, you can come on by. Come on. It's I definitely have not moved from there yet. Actually, on this wait, would you give them my home address back in Massachusetts?
Mm, I don't know.
I mean,
I'll give them a address, at least
hey,
one.
I'll tell you, they might be disappointed. 90% of the time, no one's at that home anymore. So if you want to
I,
break in and if you want to steal my, I don't know, childhood bedroom toys, I guess there's a lot of Lego in there. If you love Lego,
so if you guys want Lego, I will send you his Massachusetts address. Should be at least a couple $100 worth of Lego in there you can pawn off.
hey, seriously, like
Uh,
there's like a 2008 Death Star in there in pretty good condition. So
God
I hear
damn
that's
it,
worth
man!
pretty
You had such good parents. I remember that one. That was like $300. Came
Oh,
with like 20 minifigures. I
oh
remember
yeah.
looking at the catalog.
Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, dude, I had everything. I wish I had kept some of it because some of it I did break down and destroy, which I was a stupid little kid. I was always building my own things, but I had the original Lego Indiana Jones sets and the Lego Death
Hmm.
Star and so many others I wish I had kept.
Dude, those
But
are like legit investments. Like I
they
think they
are.
accumulate in value.
I have a friend who he goes on Facebook Marketplace and eBay a lot, and he just buys the ones that are still in the box because, Lord knows how much those are going to be worth eventually, later down the line.
Yeah, yeah. I gotta see if I run out of money, I might try to have my brother send some of my old Bionicles to California to keep my comedy dreams alive. But anyway, thank you, Stan, for your time. This has been Off the Mark. Please don't clip the Sydney Sweeney comment and cancel me later on Twitter. Thank you, guys. Have a good night. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of Off the Mark. Please follow me on all my socials on Instagram, TikTok. The handle for my TikTok is Marc Tyrrell Comedy, all one word, MarcTyrrell Comedy. And I have two Instagram accounts. One is my main, that's just Marc.Tyrrell, and the other one is my comedy account, which is same as my TikTok. Be sure to like and subscribe, share with your friends. That stuff helps like you wouldn't believe. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.